Everyone, and welcome to today's video. This is a B1 level ESL lesson, and today we're going to be learning about passive voice in all the tenses, all the different verb tenses. So do you stream? On-demand entertainment has become popular, and so do you subscribe to any streaming services? You can answer these questions in the comments. Do you have a subscription with an on-demand service? How often do you watch shows and series? And do you watch shows on a TV, a laptop, a tablet, or some other device? So in the past, you needed to wait a week between episodes of a series. Today, you can watch episodes back to back. So Greta says, I definitely binge. I think I watched 3 seasons of Before Dawn or 30 episodes in less than a week. Sue says, I usually watch the first 2 seasons of a series. When the 3rd season arrives, the plots are often ridiculous. And Darius says, I really like Scandinoir, the dark thrillers that come from Denmark, Sweden, and Norway, for example. So look at these titles and see if you can guess what is each show about and what audience is the show made for. So we have In Court, It Was Wrong, and Monarch. And again, you can put your ideas in the comments. All right, we're going to listen to the synopsis of In Court, and then you'll answer the questions.
In Court is an American legal drama which is set in a fictional law firm in New York City. In the first episode, James Fadden is taken on as an associate by Josh Hartman, a successful lawyer at the firm. The only problem is that James doesn't have a law degree. The tension builds as it becomes more and more likely that James's secret will be discovered. It's an ingenious plot, and the characters are great, especially the smooth-talking Josh.
All right, so In Court takes place in New York. Josh Hartman is a lawyer. James Fadden doesn't have a law degree. And the reviewer describes Josh as smooth talking. So now look carefully at the phrases in bold and then listen to the review of In Court to compare the audio with the text and see if you can figure out what is different.
In Court is an American legal drama which is set in a fictional law firm in New York City. In the first episode, James Fadden is taken on as an associate by Josh Hartman, a successful lawyer at the firm. The only problem is that James doesn't have a law degree. The tension builds as it becomes more and more likely that James's secret will be discovered. It's an ingenious plot, and the characters are great, especially the smooth-talking Josh.
Right, so the differences are that the sentences in bold are in active voice, and in the audio, they are in passive voice. So which the director sets in New York in a fictional law firm in New York City becomes which is set in a fictional law firm. Josh Hartman takes on James Fadden as an associate. That's active voice because Josh, the subject, is doing the action. But here, James Fadden is taken on as an associate. Here, James Fadden, the object, is having the action done to him. And someone will discover James's secret. That's active. But James's secret will be discovered. That's a passive voice sentence. All right, so the phrases in bold have a verb in the passive voice. And so how do we form the passive voice? Well, in the passive voice, instead of the subject doing something, the subject is having something done to it. And so do you remember why or when we use the passive voice? And this was several lessons ago, but sometimes we use it because we don't know who's doing the action, or um, who is doing the action isn't important. Those are a couple of reasons why you might use the passive voice. It also can sound a little more polite sometimes to use passive voice. Okay, so we use be plus the past participle to form the passive, and we use by to introduce the agent of the action. So here we have some examples. French is spoken in Europe. The TV series was set in New York. The city has been devastated by the storm. The new season is being filmed in central London. John was being interrogated by the detective, and some coastal cities may be flooded by 2100. And which of the sentences contain an agent of the action? Well, by the storm, by the detective. So those are the two. Now this one has by, but 2100 is more of a time period. It's not really an agent. So I would say the storm and the detective are the agents of the action. Okay, now change each sentence into the passive voice and introduce the noun that did the action with by. So go ahead and pause the video, try these on your own, and then you can restart when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, so the Glass Speed Game was written by Hermann Hesse. Many operas were composed by Mozart. The mail is delivered by the postman every day. Portuguese is spoken by people in Portugal. Our cat was stolen by someone. The chocolate cake was baked by my brother. The little dog was saved by Edward. A cure for cancer will be found by scientists. And Josh was hit by the cyclist without warning. So when do we use the passive voice? We use the passive voice for several reasons. We often use the passive voice when we don't know who or what did the action. So the Colosseum was built almost 2,000 years ago. We don't know who built the Colosseum. We also use the passive when the who or what of the action is not important. The palace was completed in 1682. The people who built the palace are not important. And we often use the passive when we introduce new or important information. The new information is usually about who or what. So the thinker is a famous sculpture. Rodin created it in 1880. So those would be two active sentences. The thinker is a famous sculpture. It was created by Rodin in 1880. So here we have the passive sentence. All right, so we often use the passive voice when we want to focus on the object of the verb. So look at the two clauses in bold, change them into the passive voice, and then listen to check to see if your examples of the passive voice are the same as in the synopsis. So go ahead and pause the video, change the clauses in bold to passive, and then restart the video when you're ready to listen.
In It Was Wrong, Piper Feston is a woman in her 30s who lives in Washington. At the beginning of the series, Piper is sentenced to 3 months in prison after she was found guilty of stealing. It's surprisingly entertaining, occasionally heart-wrenching. Just watch one episode, and I guarantee you will be hooked.
Right, so you can check to see if your passive voice was the same as in the audio. Piper is sentenced to 3 months in prison after she was found guilty of stealing. All right, so now listen to the synopsis of Monarch, and you'll state whether these statements are true or false, and if they're false, you can go ahead and correct them.
Monarch is a historical drama which is based on the life of Queen Elizabeth II. Elizabeth's father, King George VI, died in 1952. A year later, when she was only 27, Elizabeth was crowned queen. Key historical events are incorporated into the story, and this series offers a great insight into the private life of Britain's royal family. I had to remind myself that it is not a documentary.
Okay, this show is based on the life of Elizabeth I. That's false. It's Elizabeth II. King George VI died in 1948, and that's false. It was 1952. Elizabeth was crowned queen when she was 27 years old. That's true. The series offers a great insight into the life of the British royal family. That's true. And it is not a documentary. That is true. So have you heard of the video cassette recorder? And again, you can answer these questions in the comments. Did your family ever own a VCR? Did you rent video cassettes? After the VCR came the DVD player. Did your family own a DVD player? All right, so now you're going to read the introduction to the article and answer the questions. You can pause the video and read on your own, or you can follow along as I read. Binge watching is on the rise. Gone are the days when we were forced to plan our schedules around our favorite TV shows. First, it was video cassette recorders. VCRs were first produced in the early 1970s, and by the mid-80s, 1980s, a third of American homes with a TV also had a video recorder. For the first time, people could record TV programs and watch them at their convenience. So can you find two verbs in the passive voice? So here, VCRs were first produced. Let's see. And we were forced to plan. And what does at their convenience mean? It just means at a time whenever you want or whenever you have time. It's not on someone else's schedule. And the agent is not mentioned in the sentences with the passive voice. And why not? So either we don't know, here VCRs were first produced, we don't maybe know or it's not important who produced the VCRs. Here we don't really know or it's not important who forced us to plan our schedules. Now complete the text with verbs in the passive voice. 3 verbs use the past simple tense and 1 uses the future, the simple future with will. So go ahead and pause the video, try this on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. In the late 1990s, the first digital video recorder was launched. But then in the early 2000s, VCR cassettes were replaced by DVD technology. DVRs had a lot of advantages over VCRs, but we could still only watch our favorite TV shows once a week unless we rented the DVDs from a video shop. Commercial video streaming services changed all that. In around 2010, it became possible for us to watch what we wanted when we wanted. The last video cassette recorders were sold in 2016, and many people believe that DVD players will be discontinued soon. So what is a commercial streaming service? It's a service that allows you to access movies and TV shows on your own schedule. which words in the second paragraph mean at our convenience. Um, so to watch what we wanted when we wanted. And at home, do you still watch shows using a VCR or DVD player? So in this part of the article, the author provides some opinions, and you can talk about whether you agree with them or not. We have one vocabulary word, cliffhanger. It's an ending to an episode that leaves the audience wanting to know more. Again, you can pause the video and read this on your own, or you can follow along as I read. The way we watch TV has changed forever. Recent surveys show that around 2/3 of subscribers admit binge watching on a regular basis. This has changed the way programs are made. Scripts are written differently. If the audience is planning to watch the next episode in a few minutes, cliffhangers become pointless. So which verb is in the passive voice? So the way that we watch TV has changed forever. In that sentence, what is the object of the sentence? The way we watch TV. What is the object of the sentence? Let's see. All right, we said the way that we watch TV is what has changed forever, so that is the object. Are you a binge watcher? Again, you can answer these questions in the comments. What is the most episodes of a series that you've watched in one sitting? So now find 3 mistakes in the text and correct them. A clause containing a passive verb will have an object before the verb. First, find the object in each clause. If the object precedes the verb, the sentence should be in the passive voice. And here, spell, it means to show a sign. And you can pause the video and read this on your own, or you can follow along as I read. How will movie audiences affected? That's a mistake. It should be effective. Well, the number of people going to the movies has fallen steadily over the last 50 years, although the figures improve slightly when higher quality blockbuster movies are released. For the moment, at least, people are still attracted to the movies because they can't see new release movies anywhere else. If a deal is made to stream new releases on demand, this may spell the beginning of the end for movie theaters. Now change each sentence into the passive voice. If the verb does not have an object, you can't change it into the passive voice. And if the agent is important, introduce it with by, and then make any other changes that you need to. Okay, on-demand providers become more popular every year. This one doesn't have an object, so you cannot change it into passive voice. Companies produce hundreds of new series each year. Hundreds of new series are produced each year. You don't really need by companies because we can sort of assume that. On-demand streaming will replace the last DVD players. The last DVD players will be replaced by on-demand streaming. You can watch on-demand series on your laptop. On-demand series could be watched on your laptop. People write scripts differently. Scripts are written differently. You don't really need to say by people. In 50 years, there may not be any movie theaters. There's no object in that, so it can't be changed to passive. And companies launched the VCR in the 1970s. The VCR was launched in the 1970s, and we don't really need to say by companies because we can sort of assume that. All right, so what is your favorite show or series? What are you watching at the moment, and would you recommend it? And you can go ahead and answer these questions in the comments. What is this series or show called? What kind of series is it? Is it a crime show, a sitcom, a historical drama, or something else? Where was it produced? Who is the series made for? Is it made for teenagers, people in their 30s, or another group? Is the series based on a book or play? Who acts in it, and would you recommend it? And that brings us to the end of today's video. Please like, subscribe, share, participate, engage with the comments, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.